Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 2026 in the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan here on iRacing. It's the Oval Series with a season opener tonight from Nashville Superspeedway. This is the Lagerkungen 300 here live on RaceSpotTV. Myself, your Deliri camera Roger, take you through the action with Ramiro Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras of this RaceSpotTV broadcast here this afternoon. As I mentioned, it is 300 kilometres from the Nashville Superspeedway. That is 140 laps for us tonight with a stage break at lap 60 as the change for the 25-26 campaign. Anyway, we have got a yellow flag, a caution on that time as well. 90% of a fuel tank can be used. 4 sets of tyres can be used as well over the course of the race. Cam, good to be alongside you for 2026 and a new season. We've split them up this time round, and we've got this time a much longer season actually to bring us all the way into the early summer. Well, we'll try and get connected with Cam in a moment. I'm not sure his mic's working. But anyway, there's the schedule. 9 rounds over the course of now until early summer. As I say, that's spring really, isn't it? May, 7th of May. But there you go. Homestead finale, which we're looking forward to. Well, I am anyway. I think all good championships end there. And how's that for a free race run towards the end, by the way? Bristol, Talladega and Homestead in the final 3 weeks. 3 more difficult circuits. It's difficult to imagine. There are the track conditions out there for you at the moment for those Americans among you. 106 Fahrenheit on the track. That's 41 degrees Celsius on the racetrack here so far. So we'll see whether that increases or decreases. Probably the latter, because it is already 1:30 in the end of March. So not likely to get any warmer really than that, which is probably a good thing for these drivers, to be honest. There is the qualifying order currently. Marcus Byfeld currently leading the way in front of Jonas Gunnarsson, who's still lapping out there at the moment. There will be some jumpers towards the end here. Jonas Gunnarsson in second is still on the racetrack at the moment. Peter Helmbroek, Tony Even and Daniel Holmer rounding out the top 5. There's Jonas Lepit. That's making his way around this concrete racetrack, 2.14 kilometres, 1.33 miles. Don't know why it's quite so not to a round number, but anyway, it's been in place, this trial since 2001 and 2021 has been used as a NASCAR Cup Series venue, entering its 6th year coming up in the 2026 schedule. What about Alexander Aronson as he comes up towards the line at the end of qualifying? He just goes a little bit quicker, but it's not enough, I don't think, to get on top of those two at the front at the moment, Jonas Gunnarsson and Marcus Byfeld. I believe Cam's now with me. Good to be back for another season, Cam. A longer one this time round of 9 rounds. And we start it all here at Nashville in early January.
Absolutely, and it's coming into this championship likes Christopher Giros, Marcus Byfeld. Those drivers have often been in the road course side of things, but we are going oval racing today, so it's great to have them coming in. And of course, we've got Jonas Lepit coming back after missing out on season 8. He's back for season 9. Lars Bulker as well, after having a pretty solid season 8. He's coming back with vengeance as well, so really looking forward to see what we can do, and a close qualifying session as well.
Yep, it certainly is, and we'll bring you the grid in just a second from this first qualifying session. Checkered flag just waves as we see Linus Broström get to the end of his run, and we'll run through that grid for you just now as the drivers get themselves ready. 24 in the field, by the way, tonight, and there's no prizes for guessing who's last in the field. But let's deal with those who are at the front first. And Jonas Gunnarsson, who's taken the first pole of the season. Marcus Byfeld alongside with Alexander Aronson and Peter Helmbroek on row 2. Linus Broström and then Tony Uinen on row 3. 7th place has gone to Daniel Holmer with Jonas Lepit alongside Joel Wallin and Elliot Fagerberg round out the top 10 with Marcus Hagman and Kenneth Chitt on row 6. Oscar Moten, Dante Forsberg on row 7 in front of Hackenschott and Lars Boker. Matthias Kjellberg and Christopher Crook are on row 9 ahead of Eric Lundberg and Bjorn Broström, who rounds up the top 20. Christopher Giros and Robert Erling are on row 11 ahead of Jonas Scotland and Mark Castilla, who rounds out the field. As I mentioned, no prizes for guessing that he would start from last in the first race of the season. I suspect he's going to do that 8 more times this season, but always the fascinating thing with him is just how far does he get up the field, because he always does this, as we know. And tonight is the first of 9 opportunities, I think, we've got to see him come through the field this season.
Really looking forward to see what these cars are going to be like compared to the next gen that we had in Season 8. These cars gave us such great racing in the previous season where Jesper Eriksson was able to clinch that championship back at Phoenix in June of 2025. It's going to be a whole load of fun. This car has a lot more tyre drop-off. It's a bit more raceable than what we saw in the next gen car, and it's going to offer a lot more opportunities for overtaking. We still have 4 sets of tyres though, so including the caution, then we are going to be seeing sort of a 3-stop race overall. So you need to try and save a set of tyres if you can, but the tyre drop-off is way more.
Absolutely, and that will be one of the bits of interest throughout this session here tonight as the drivers now roll off the grid and get themselves underway here. There seems to be a gap there actually, as you can see, just behind the 43 car. Not sure who's missing quite there, but anyway, there's somebody missing clearly from the grid, and they will be underway in just a second for their formation lap. As I mentioned before, it's Jonas Gunnarsson who's going to be on the pole. 140 laps. We had some quite long races, I seem to remember, last season. I mean, we'll see how many cautions we get here. It could be long green flag runs and therefore over very quickly. But, you know, just depends what kind of race we're going to see, really, as far as cautions are concerned.
Well, absolutely. And one thing I'm just noticing as well is Gunnarsson is, of course, in a brand new team as well. So that is going to switch things up quite a bit. We've obviously got the old folk coming in and getting ready to race. We have to see how this start line is going to line up. It's actually going to be an interesting one here at the start.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's Marcus Hagman, by the way, I've finally been able to work out, who has gotten himself not onto the grid for whatever reason. So not entirely sure what's happened for him, but either way, they've all got away other than Marcus Hagman at the moment, who is still stuck on pit lane. Anyway, out of the 4th turn they go, and way to this season in the Svenska Eracingligan here from Nashville. The Lager 300 is underway.
Yellow flag is going to come out already, and that is not the way we would want it to start the season, but this is just chaos already. Alex Aronson is going back with the Meeble after he won the championship contenders last time around. This is going to switch things up already as the season gets underway.
Yeah, it is, and we mentioned what kind of race are we going to see? Well, unfortunately, it's going to be one with cautions, it looks like, or at least this first lap is going to be. Byfeld will be scored as the leader, but yeah, that's just ahead of Gunnarsson at the line, effectively, and that's how he's got that position here after the opening lap of the day. So, good start to the season for him. I think because those who've just seen the replay, sorry, that we didn't quite catch there. But yes, unfortunately, the unfortunate way to start the season. I think it's just worth reflecting a little bit on last season, actually, before we go any further. Very, very close season, and some of the names we can see at the top are here again. Jonas Gunnarsson, who's finished just 6 points off the top last season, and Alexander Aronson just 2 points off of Linus Broström at the front of the standings. 2 of those, Gunnarsson and Broström, in the top 4 at the moment, but unfortunately Alexander Aronson doesn't seem to be, not at least in the top 4, seems to have dropped down in that crash. So not a great start to the...
Yeah, that is a tough start, and with such a short season, you really, it's so difficult really to have these issues early on. It's very difficult to come back from, and it's not one of those situations where you want to be counting points ready at the start of the season. So that is going to be a tough one for whoever is going to be to recover at the start. But for those at the front, we've got Byfeld leading. That's a great start from him, able to jump up into first position. Gunnarsson back to second place. And of course, your champion from last season, Broström, there in 4th position. It's going to be a slightly different season. It looks like with some different names up towards the front, with Bohlin, Motin, Schott, Kjellberg, drivers maybe ones you would always see up towards the front. But they're going on as we remain under caution now here in this first stage.
Yeah, first stage 60 laps, as I mentioned earlier on. Fuel capped at 90% of its normal capacity. So this will do nothing more really than just allow them to go on a little bit further in this first run, you would have thought. as we get to the end of 3 laps here. We're going to see the pace truck pull, as it is a truck, pull into the pit lane the end of the next one, and allow Marcus Byfeld to get control of this field at the very front and see where he goes from there. But he's going to have to get off to a better start than Gunnarsson did. He's lost the lead very, very quickly indeed out of the first run there, which, as we mentioned, really did not last very long at all, sadly.
Not, but we're going to be going back to green flag racing at the end of this lap. Drivers warm themselves up to go. Obviously, over 100 laps still remaining in the race. Plenty of time for them to work out what they are going to do, but they just need to try and get a bit of a cleaner start, get some green runs in before we get towards even thinking about a first pit stop. But as ever, they're going to be trying to get as long as they can into this first stint for them to be able to keep a set of tyres as much as they can later on in the race.
Yeah, you've got to manage those over the course, because otherwise you'll be running out of tyre sets very quickly before the end of this race. But either way, 4 laps complete, and Marcus Byfeld is going to bring them back into the restart zone all over again here, and he's going to get a go at controlling this field from the front instead this time around, as Jonas Gunnarsson alongside tries to overhaul him. The Lagerkur 300 here from Nashville Super Speedway will soon get back underway, and Marcus Byfeld brings it back to the green.
Looks like it's a much better start than what we saw in the first time of asking in towards the first couple of corners. Midfield is looking pretty good for now. Byfeld has a huge lead though, and up the inside is Helmbro from 3rd place, gets himself up into 2nd, and also Holman making moves. Broström is going back on that outside line with a 43 of Joe Bohlin in that red and blue machine coming his way in towards turn 3 of 4. He's trying to hold that inside line and follow through with Broström. He's just got to go backwards. He does often like to play the longer game, as we know. That's what helped him win the championship last time out just a month or 2 ago. But as we work away to start lap number 6, is Byfeld leading out the front.
Yep, a much better start than what Gunnarsson was able to do, and he's slipped down. Back to 3rd place, very, very close. Those 4 and 5 at the moment, but that's only inviting Joel Bohlin back into the fray here as well in this battle between those guys. 4th, 5th and 6th position at the moment for them, and yeah, they're running very close to one another. You don't necessarily want that early on, to be honest. It is a good way to get through your tyres quite quickly towards the beginning of one of these races, but no concerns too much about that. For now, it's about later on where you want to keep them in check, and it's not happening for the moment when you're running so closely behind one another. There's a look down the inside there from, I think that's Dan Holmer, is it, or is it Broström and Holmer? Not sure. The bottom of the screen there, but side-by-side racing between those two as we get to the.
And we continue racing on here. Lap number 9 of the opening race of season 9 here for the Svenska Eracingligan. We've got Marcus Byfeld lead by half a second. Jonas Gunnarsson is following in behind by half a second. Peter Helmbro works his way up into 3rd on that initial restart. We are continuing on. It's going green flag racing. Unfortunately, we did have the caution already after just 100 meters of racing in that opening green flag section. Well, it wasn't really green flag section at all. We went straight to caution from the start of the race, but we are now getting a nice run here as we work our way through the opening 10 laps of this race, and it looks like Byfeld is really comfortable at the front. Remember, he is more of the road course specialist. He's our current champion in the last couple of GT3 seasons over there. Next week we will be starting the next round of GT3 series, so he's going to be looking hot in that one. Of course, we had the Porsche Cups at the end of 2025 as well, and he was doing such a good job in that one as well. So really good to have him here in the Oval Series, and he is really running away with this at the start of the race. Well, he's not really running away with it in terms of time, but he's just looking very, very confident there at the start of the race. Brostrom, after having a bit of a difficult start there, he's dropped down towards 5th position, 2.5 seconds off the lead. He's doing pretty well as he comes back a little bit further inside the top 10. We've got Motin battling, and then also Lundberg as that car on the inside line, trying to make his way through into 7th position. He's done so. As Motin goes to the high line, he's going to have to be pushed back just a little bit, and that's going to be 8th position for him. Christopher Crook is the car on the inside line now to work away through turns 3 and 4. That 63 machine, he's got the run, and Motin's going to drop 2 positions on the course of that lap for the Sim Race Sweden Academy car. And he's now down into that 9th position as it stands and go back to single file.
Yeah, does back here. So Oscar Motin, maybe not entirely unpleased with being shuffled back like this, but either way, it's never particularly great when you shuffle down to 9th position. A little bit further down, by the way, just to update you, Alexander Alsen's been in the pit lane for a long, long time now, and is very much staying there. And so is Tony Uvernen, who seems to have been in there for more than a minute. Here comes Christopher Crook on Eric Lundberg at the moment. Sorry, that's Lundberg on Bohlin, actually. Well, they're all very close, aren't they, actually? The 3 of them, you could say, in towards turn number 1 on that occasion. So 63 going to try and get a run. Crook's probably got it as he comes down towards turn 3. Is he going to... he's definitely thinking about it, visibly thinking about it, but doesn't have a go in towards turn 3. And so Crook stays behind Lundberg, who himself is queuing behind Joel Bohlin as well.
Yeah, this is nice racing as we get to lap 15, opening race of the season. And the gaps are staying pretty close, so the top 3 do have a breakaway now. 3 seconds is the gap, Dan Holmer, Peter Helmroth. Well, I guess it's 2 seconds between each of them, so a little bit of a gap starting to form. When we last had these cars in a season, we definitely saw the tyre wear being a big issue. As there's Lundberg, big dive to the inside of 3. He's going to have that one surely as we get to the exit of 4. I don't think the outside line for Bohlin is going to do very well. He will have a slight bit of momentum though as he come onto the front straight. Crook is going to try and get past him as he work our way down over the checker, but it looks like it's going to be almost a 3-wide situation. No, Bohlin backs out of that one, so Crook gets through. And these guys swap around already. In the background, Lars Bulker has got Oscar Motin. So Motin in the 94 machine's already dropping off. He's gone wide again. He's going to be losing another position to Marcus Stiller from the back of the field.
Yeah, Marcus Stiller, as he so often does, in fact always does, starting from the very back of the field, and is, as he again so often does, coming through the field very, very nicely. Look at this back here though. This is sort of towards the midfield and towards the back, where there's a whole load of battles going on. Oscar Motin still falling through the field somehow out of this, and so yeah, this is not particularly ideal for Motin. But back up front, Marcus Byfeld leads this race. The last 300 here from Nashville Super Speedway by a few tenths of a second in front of Jonas Gunnarsson, and then there's a bit of a gap up to Helmroth, but it's not a very large gap back to Peter Helmroth. And those are the 3 really who are fighting over this race lead very early on.
And it's a nice little battle between these guys. They're keeping themselves honest. Byfeld got over half a second gap. Has now gone down to under 0.2 of a second. Jonas Gunnarsson in his brand new team is having a run down towards the back straight. He's keeping the Street Trends driver honest at this point in the race. The 1:05 machine. He's held it from the beginning of this green flag run. We had the caution all the way after the first lap, where 105 was able to get the lead before the caution came out, and he's held the lead on the restart ever since. Marcus Stiller's moving up more places. He's got to P9 now, ahead of Joel Bohlin. The 013 machine in our last season, starting from the back of every single race, he was able to still get him in the playoffs. And I think he's having a look at Lars Bulker now around the outside of the exit turn 2 as well. He's on Christopher Crook there on the exit 2, goes up into the wall, has a bit of a hip check on that one. He looks like he's going okay, but don't want to be doing that one too many times with the car's being a little bit fragile now and again. But yeah, Stiller just showing that you can make positions in this league. Of course, you know, it's not like we have 50 drivers out there on the track, but still, you can work your way forward one by one and give yourself a chance. And the fact that he got into the playoffs last time we had that format definitely shows the driver that he can be. But obviously wants to have a bit of fun as well as we're on to lap number 20 now, and Byfeld continues to lead.
Yeah, and quite nicely as well, considering the pressure he seems to be under at the moment from Jonas Gunnarsson. Christopher Geros gets into the top 10 for the first time there at the expense of Joel Wollin in the 43 cars. So 120 laps to go, and well, 20 gone, more importantly. Byfoot and Gunnarsson still running 1 and 2 very nicely. Helmbro is starting to lose a bit of time, and this is the battle for those behind. Lance Prostrom has been quite a long way stuck behind Daniel Holmer so far, and now he's only just on his way past into 4th position. I reckon he's probably bided his time actually through these first 20 laps. That's why he's not really done anything so far, but now he has finally decided that Holmer's going too slowly and he's going to go on through.
And this is an important moment for his race potentially, because the important point is the gap is getting up ahead. So that is not what you want to see, and that is why he's having to bridge that, because he's now 5 seconds off the next car really as he got up into 4th position. Crook has followed him through. Crook has got up into 5th down. Holmer dropping down. He's now got Lundberg in mind. I say that though, actually Lars Bolka trying to come all the way around the outside, get involved in that one. We'll have to see how that battle resumes as we get onto the start-finish straight. But Lars Bolka, who was very, very competitive in the previous season in that red and white Toyota he was in that time around. But now that 372 car is looking very, very strong indeed. We look at Christopher Crook trying to come on the champion, who has kept the 71 machine. I like that. He's kept his number. But let's see how this one works. Oscar Motin has got the meatball after being inside the top 10 earlier. He's got a meatball, and we're going to see Christopher Crook dive down inside. He's looking stronger once again. Rosham not going to fight that, so Christopher Crook working his way up. Dan Holmer's moving back again. He's into P number 8. And that is about 4 positions lost in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, you do wonder a little bit whether Crook's actually coming through the field a bit too quickly at the moment, and he's going to pay for that later. Speaking a little bit earlier on about the tyre drop-off that we're going to experience here at Nashville here tonight. Tyre drop-off 2 to 2.5 seconds after 60 laps. And we're about halfway there, to be honest. So we must be about a second away from where we are. It's actually, I'm looking at some lap times at the moment, actually, and read some out. But yeah, we must be getting sort of halfway there, if you like. It's not always a sort of a straight line of degradation, but it can be a little bit of an exponential curve. But we'll see what it's like here on the concrete of Nashville here tonight. 25 laps almost complete. What a race we've got in hand if Byfeld and Gunnarsson continue on like this. Not sure I've seen them covered by more than about 0.4 of a second over the course of this race.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a long battle, I think, through this one. And we're having a nice green flag run here. 140 laps. The stage is lap 60. We are expecting fuel to last 60 laps as well. They'll need 61 to get back to pit lane. So I'm sure they can save that lap of fuel if you do go green. But the issue is that the drop-off on the tyres could be over 2 seconds a lap. So you're going to be losing a lot of time for those who are not able to hold onto their tyres. But yeah, the Langacunion 300 to start the season is certainly had a chaotic start, but now we're getting some awesome green flag running here. And we're seeing Marcus Stiller there. He's jumped up into 8th from the back of the grid. Linus Broström, he's been up, he's been down. He's back into 6th place like he was after the initial start, because Lars Bulk has come through. It looks like, Ewan, we have a whole host of drivers who are going to be competitive in this new O'Reilly squad. Well,
yeah, let's see, because it's very early on in what could be quite a long race, actually, and quite a long season. But yeah, the early signs are all right as far as the amount of guys who could be competitive this season. This is a group that Daniel Holmer is not enjoying the sight of, because they were all behind him recently. He was in 4th place. And now suddenly he's down to 12th. But again, if this is going to be a long green flag run, and it's shaping up like it might be, it can go for a maximum of another 32 laps here. And they know that there's then going to be a pit stop, which I'm not a great fan of, as you know, but fine. And he's going to be able to gain some of these places between now and then. I don't believe personally that Holmer's been able to qualify inside the top 5 and has just sort of fallen to 12th to have his time with those tyres a little bit later on.
Indeed, because when we get to lap 60, there's going to be obviously more than 60 laps left, so we are going to need definitely another pit stop after when you know, a one stop, let's say after the caution period, so setting a set tyres for a further caution would be very good indeed. Marcus Stiller gets past the reigning champ. The 71 goes back once again, and Stiller is looking fast. He's got up into 6th place. They are 9 seconds off the lead though, so the top 3 have really pulled away. But this is still a good showing from Marcus Stiller as Broström is under attack once again. Christopher Giros down the inside, and he tries to make his way through. We're 2 by 2. We've got Lundberg and Leppit on the back of this one. We've also got, I think, Marcus Hagman in 11th place in the number 12 car. Well, look at Stiller pull away from this battle that opens the door. Crook fills it, gets past. Broström goes high. He's got 3 cars now up the inside. Linus Broström. We're almost 4 wide on the XLT4. He's got to be careful of that one. Looks like he's going to drop down outside of the top 10.
Well, that is not messaged me somehow. Oh, right, there we go. And there goes Oscar Motin's engine. So that is odd. You don't see that very often in one of these races. Now, what is happening here? Linus Broström, well, first of all, how's Linus Broström messaged me? I don't have any answers to that. But second of all, why is his engine overheating? That's his message. My engine's overheating. And it's a Simray Sweden teammate who's had an engine blow. So there's big concern now at Simray Sweden. And I wonder whether that's got to Gunnarsson at the moment or not. Oh, dear. He just comes off the wall there through turn 2. Didn't hit it, but he went near to Marcus Byfeldt, who's now battling with him for this race lead.
Engine overheated. That's a weird one, because I believe it's fixed setup, if I'm not mistaken. So it should be the same for everyone in that regard. We'll have to see if it causes some people some other issues when we go later in the race, or if that's just a weird maybe issue with I don't know, the revs that they're using. Very interesting situation. We'll obviously keep our eyes on that one if that becomes an issue later on in the race. We go back to the lead battle. Well, I say battle, Gunnarsson is just sitting there behind nicely as it stands. You know, he's not really going for it just yet. He's been within half a second of Byfeldt the whole time. He's got down to 1/10, he went up to 3, and he's just keeping him honest. Helmbro is trying to follow suit, but unfortunately he is a couple of seconds back. So he's going to have to sit there for now. But the longer this thing goes on, and the more the tyre wear comes into effect, the field will sort of spread out a little bit, as you know, the slower drivers will also have more tyre wear, and they will drop off, you know, further sort of a snowball effect. But at the front, Byfeldt is looking really strong, and I'm really liking this from our reigning Porsche Cup champion.
Absolutely. Showing that he can do a couple of discipline a driver actually, who can do more than one thing at a time. And Marcus Stiller there running in the
So it looks like we are missing you in there just a little bit, but let's see how this one goes.
Just over 20 laps away from the stage.
We're getting towards that icon here, where, to be honest, I'm expecting to see all the drivers go as far as they can. They are waiting for some, and they do have an extra set of tyres where if someone wants to be bold, if someone wants to pit before the stage, they can do so. I don't know if it's going to be the best thing in terms of winning this race. The 40 there, Leppit dives up the inside, and he gets past Christopher Giros. At least he's trying to. We're side by side on the exit 3 and 4. He's going to be able to slide high in that green and white machine, but not able quite to get past. He's got Marcus Hagman pushing him as we go down this front straightaway. The pair are still side by side because Cook hasn't backed out of this one just yet. But what that's done is he's left the door open. Now Marcus Hagman, he's side by side, working his way through turn 2, trying to get the exit run out onto the back straight, and he's got the inside line down in towards turn number 3. Great battle between the two. It looks like Cook backs out of that one and loses 2 places in the lap.
So absolutely be at the moment. So towards the turn 1 they go. So you've just had a mess for Oscar Motin. We're in the same place, by the way. I can see laptop. Oscar Motin's got front end damage after his incident, and that's what's called the overheating. Doesn't still explode. happened to Linton's engine blew in such a spectacular fashion and so early?
We didn't get a proper view of the replays, so from our feed. So I couldn't quite see if there was damage on the front of Brostrom's car, but he is dropping back, and this is not good. Unfortunately, there's not many races in this season compared to a full-length season. I guess 9 races is plenty to determine a champion. But in terms of a full-length season that you can come back from, maybe not quite so. The drop score will be in effect though, but you don't want to use your drop score on the first round of the season. That means you've got to have a flawless 8 rounds. You can't have any bad races if you want to go for this championship. Elliot Fagerberg here in the 31 machine. He's on the outside line, 11th position, trying to get himself past Lundberg. It will be as actually there's a lap car there, the 357 is a lap car. Lundberg is just up ahead. It's Dante Forsberg who's laps down, trying to now unlap himself on Lundberg. So that's going to open the door for Fagerberg to drive it down the inside in towards turn 3. He's got more grip at this time. And car number 31 should have that one stuck if he's going to be able to get past the two side-by-side on the exit of turn 4. It seems like the extra momentum on the outside line isn't really helping here in Nashville today, and the 31 is going to slide through and get up into that 10th position.
Yeah, and there's a lot of positions gained from earlier for Elliot Fagerberg. Just in behind, Lundberg and Kenneth Thier in the same group as well. So it's all close for 10th position. One of the few remaining battles really of that size. The other one being this one further up the road for Marcus Stiller, who is at the front of this one. 42 laps now, or 41 complete, lap 42. So we really are bearing down on the end of this first stage here tonight, which again is coming at lap 60. There is only one stage in these races. Fuel lasts 60 laps, but you mentioned how easy it's going to be to fuel save. Even easier, of course, because of that early caution.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I was saying, it needs to basically save 1 lap, but with the caution, that would have been almost automatic for all of these drivers. And always, you can always, roll into turn 1, turn 3 a little bit, lift and coast, save a bit of fuel. As the 41 Alepa there dives it to the inside, that brings Stiller down a little bit lower than probably the line he would have expected. Has actually slowed the 40 up in the middle of turn 2, but he's actually then got the momentum because of that with the differing lines. He's got the inside now for turn 3. Stiller isn't going to be able to chop that one off like he did last time around. He's going to be the outside line for the 013. He's making great moves. Lars Bulka, therefore, is getting away in that white machine up ahead, as it looks like Leppert is going to be retaking that position. What a battle there with Stiller. Now opening the door for Marcus Hogman. He's diving it down the inside in the 12 machine. The 12 and the 13 side by side. Up the inside for MHE Racing he goes. And he's got, unfortunately, a lapped traffic in behind of Forsberg trying to come through on that one. So that's going to make it a little bit more tricky, as it looks like Marcus Hogman is going to have to fight for this one hard. He's gone down the inside again, in towards turn 3. Lovely battle between these two. Inside line, outside line, fighting. Because the outside line gets the runs onto the straights, but the inside line has the run in the corner. And it looks like the 12 has got a car length ahead. Is it going to be enough to chop up? It is. And that move should finally be done after 2 laps.
Yeah, sometimes these moves take a long time. Here. On an oval, because they're not very long tracks, of course. There are some Fagerberg.
And it looks like Stiller there, unfortunately, just losing to that lap traffic of Forsberg. Just showing you that the new tyres are very powerful around here as the lap 46 comes out. So less than 15 laps to go now as we get towards that stage break. It's almost a second now for Byfeld at the front. He's looking strong, isn't he? Peter Helmbro can't keep up. If we stay green to the end of the race, of course, we're going to have the stage caution. But if we stay green after that, looks like Byfeld is the fastest driver out on the track. But will there be any potential cautions later in the race that would change the course of this race? It is going to be a tough one to work that one out. Well, Byfeld's looking very strong. It is over a second now. For goodness, only loses a couple of seconds there on that previous lap. Helmbro is looking good in that 3rd position as well, who at least in the seasons that we've been covering here on RaceSpotTV, has not won a race on an oval. He's won in the Oval Series, but it's when we did the Indy Road course, ironically, a couple of years ago. As still looking. He's got podiums, but still looking for that win in RaceSpotTV in the Oval Series. Robert Erling in the 82. We haven't really spoken about him too much. He's in MHE Racing now, and he's that's quite a nice delivery compared to the red that he's got from his teammate Marcus Orban. But he's there currently in P16 trying to work his way forward. These points are going to be crucial later on in the season for those who want to at least finish in the sort of top 15, top 10 of the season. And Giros here is working his way through the 30s. Giros working his way here in the car 36, working his way out onto the back straight. He's got the runner Marcus Stiller, the 013. He's down the inside. He's got his nose up the inside there. He's going to be flicking his nose down the inside into towards turn 8. And that looks like it has been sorted, although I say that the 13 is holding it on the outside line. He's got the run, he's got the momentum down this front straightaway as we go to lap 50 in the race. 10 to go before the stage. Top 10 will be getting the points there, and these drivers are fighting for one singular point as it stands. Giros wants that extra one. He's up into P8. We go onto the back straightaway, still side by side between the two, and it looks like Stiller is not backing out of this one. Stiller digging up into P6 at one point, but now starting to drop back, maybe hindering a bit from over pushing those tyres. It's 10th here, 10th there, but it all adds up as Crook is looking strong. A couple of laps now, they remain side by side down the front straightaway. Looks like Crook is remaining in the upper hand. Well, I say that, Stiller dives it into turn 1. He stays side by side despite the longer trajectory, and he's in a great position here to try and hold on to. Actually, Crook is getting inch by inch a bit further ahead, but look at Stiller still sending. He doesn't want to give up with this one. I'll tell you why. There's Elliot Fagerberg now coming up behind, and a whole train of other cars, but eventually it looks like he might just have to give up to this one on Christopher Crook. But wow, this really is taking multiple laps for this one done. Stiller's just been so aggressive on the brakes. I guess that is the main reason why he's been gaining all these positions early on in the race. Looks like Crook there was able to finally complete the move. So we've got Fagerberg coming with, well, actually there's the 84 there. Gantz is having a bit of a, sorry, Uven I should say, is having a bit of a resurgence in this race. With 3 wide as we come across the start-finish line, as this is terrible for Stiller. He's going backwards. Fagerberg got past, and Lundberg as well. This might put Stiller outside the top 10. He's got to lose those extra stage points, which is so crucial for the championship. Every point will count. But it seems like he is, unfortunately, he's definitely going backwards in this one and not able to hold on as we work away from turn 3 and 4. Lundberg sends up the inside. This is going to put Stiller outside of the top 10 in the 013 machine. And is this also Kenneth Tier? It is. Kenneth Tier's coming through. Stiller down to P12. He's lost 6 places in the last 10 laps or so. And it looks like he's going to just fall short of the stage points.
Yeah, well, I was complimenting him earlier for the the very quick run through the leap from Marcus Stiller, but actually he's probably paying for that quite badly now, and he's not going to get any stage points. Kenneth Tier probably is, probably for the opposite reason. Went slowly at the beginning and quickly at the end. He's probably going to get a few points. He's not going to get many. 6 laps to go. He's got them queuing up in front of him, but how many can he get past before lap 60 is the question.
As lap 55 comes around, just 5 laps remaining in this one. It looks like it's going to be a tense finish here as we get towards the end of the first stage. As I said, the top 10 get points. Obviously, P1 get 10 points, and then reducing 1 every position until Eric Lundberg, as it stands, is getting that final stage point. And just a reminder that these points are going to count. So point per position, basically. So later on in the season, if you can get an extra, even 10 stage points across the season compared to your rival, that's 10 positions when we get to Homestead that we're not going to have to worry about. We're looking at Christopher Crook. He's holding on to 4th position as it stands. Lap 56 comes around. 63 is leading the battle with 372. this is a car to look out for this season, I think. Lars Bulka, he had a great run of it last season. He's now looking really good in the Polski Aviation Division. Lovely team name there. He's coming fast, trying to get P4.
And see whether he's got the time to get there here with 3 laps to go at the line, down the looks down the inside, should be on his way through into the top, into 4th position. Is he going to squeeze out Crook? He's going to try and get up high on the racing line, and well, he doesn't actually have to. He's already clear. Crook's still on the outside line and still can't get himself back past again, so at least not in towards turn 1 this time round. So these guys 12 seconds off the race lead at the moment. Marcus Bleifeld is 2 laps away from taking the first stage win of the season.
This is an awesome opening. Starts the season at the Langerkunden 300 here on RaceSpotTV for the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Oval Series. Season 9 already of this championship, basically going since about COVID time. We are back to the short seasons. We just had an 8-round run as we worked our way up towards Christmas. Linus Broström was the champion that time around. We go racing once again here for season 9. It looks like Marcus Bleifeld by 2.5 seconds is going to be getting the first stage win of the season, but the positions are completely up for grabs with just one final tour of Nashville to go before the stage caution will come out. And look at this, 2.5 seconds. We know this car is all about tyre drop-off. It's all about the tyre management, and the best drivers therefore will come out. Bleifeld, after showing his prowess on the road course series, is coming for the ovals. Let's see how this one ends with just 2 corners to go. As Gunnarsson is going to be now over 3 seconds back. He's just cruising to a 2nd place finish. But for P1, it is going to be Marcus Bleifeld coming out of the final corner. He is going to win the stage here for the Langerkunden 300. And what an opening for him to come into the Oval Series as well and take that stage victory. It's Elliot Fagerberg who's got that final position as it stands. Lundberg just sneaks an extra point from Giros with one final corner to go for them. And it looks like Fagerberg is going to be coming around, and of course the caution will come up when he crosses the line, and that is certainly going to be a tight finish. It looks like it was Fagerberg just getting P10 with Giros, Lundberg, Hagman, Leppert, Crook, Bulka, Gunnarsson and Helmro being the final ones, but Helmro did get past, I believe, after the finish line. Well, having said that, has Gunnarsson run out of fuel? Was he slowing down to get back to pit lane?
Well, let's see. I'd be surprised, to us, because of the things that I mentioned a little bit earlier on about fuel with the savings that surely would have been made through the caution. But yeah, maybe that is correct, because this caution is effectively going to come on a lap later than what it would have when they all come across the line together. It's effectively like it comes out on lap 60. But it's 61 effectively when it comes out here, because Marcus Bleifeld was sort of halfway around the circuit by the time that the race truck was out there, and indeed there it is now. Now, does Gunnarsson look like someone to you that is missing a bit of fuel they need? I mean, he's coasting up past them now. I mean, he's not really accelerating or braking. I mean, I don't know why he's taking such risk. I think he is out of fuel, you know. I think you're right, possibly, and he's not going anywhere. I'm not sure he's going to roll himself even down onto his pit box either, so it seems to me like a ludicrous risk to take for really very little gain.
Well, we'll have to see as pit lane opens. Surely they're all going to dive down. Yes, they do. There was a lapped car in the way there. But anyway, as the drivers all take their pit stop, let's take a few messages from our partners. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Langer Canyon 300 as we're here from Nashville, the opening round of the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's Oval Series, season number 9. Marcus Bikeveld basically led from the start. We had an opening lap caution, literally 100 meters into the race. He was able to get Gunnarsson on the initial jump, Gunnarsson from your pole position, and then Bikeveld led the way, winning the stage by 3 seconds. Helmbro has jumped up into second place. He's got himself ahead of Gunnarsson. Not quite sure. Maybe he had to save a little bit of fuel, but either way, he lost out to that second position just before the caution, and it was in the end Elliot Fagerberg getting that final place, but has dropped down actually after some problems in the pit lane. We're coming back to the green flag though as we get going after the stage. We are green to the end. Well, hopefully we stay green to the end. It's a long run to the restart zone here, and what a start that is from Marcus Bikeveld. He's had a huge jump as Helmbro's there in second position. Gunnarsson's having to defend from Lars Bohlin in that white machine for third and fourth. Oh, there's contact made. Big send down the inside for Gunnarsson. Helmbro's knocked out wide. We're going to see a couple of cars come up inside, but fortunately he can continue on in the race.
Yeah, he's not got any damage, you wouldn't have thought. Nothing major anyway from that as they come into 3 and 4 for the first time on this restart. Good job they've gotten a lot further than what they did on that opening start of the race, where you do fear that when there's a caution through the middle, whether it be for a stage or actually for an incident, that it sparks off a real stop-start end to the race. But at least it hasn't happened through one lap here in this race tonight. This is what happened in towards turn 1. Helmbro there, unfair. Well, I guess it's just racing, isn't it? NASCAR racing. But, you know, Gunnarsson getting into him. Helmbro going up the racetrack, losing a lot of positions. He will feel slightly unfairly, and he's now even having to fight quite hard for 6th position.
With 3 wide there for a second, but look at this, Jonas Gunnarsson, after sitting as the bridesmaid for the whole of stage 1, he's coming out fighting here in stage 2 around the outside in turn 1 and 2. That's going to be a huge move if he can pull it off. He'll have the momentum as we come onto the back straight. He had a bit of a slide there in the middle of T2. He's lost the sort of momentum because of that compared to what he could have had, as it looks like Bikeveld is going to be fighting hard. These guys know now they don't have to do a 60-lap stint on these tyres. They know they can pit even in sort of 20-25 laps and still get to the end, so they can push these sets of tyres a lot harder, and that is why they're fighting more. Gunnarsson is going to the outside. He's going to continue on his battle that he was doing a lap and a half ago. He finally gets through to the lead as he retakes where he was from pole position.
Oh, do you really want to be there? I mean, it's going to be different this run because you can't actually go to the end on fuel anyway. But how are they going to split it up in a sense of 40 laps and then 40 laps, or what are we going to see here in this last run of the day? But Gunnarsson going out harder here. I would suggest that he is absolutely intending to come in on lap 100 if this stays as green as much as we can, and we'll see whether anybody decides, therefore, to go up to 60 laps. Maybe goes a little bit longer. See what you can do with that. You know, something a little bit different. So maybe we're starting to see the starts of 2 different strategies, really. Gunnarsson going as hard as he can. Not as hard as he can, but a bit harder to only use these tyres for 40 laps and come in on lap 100. And maybe Bikeveld, who wants to extend that out a little bit just to sort of cover himself from a potential mistimed caution.
Indeed, we get these battles, though. They continue on. Marcus Hogman, what a run he's having in this race. He's now going for what is currently 4th position. Leppert has got himself up into P3 after all of this. Hogman now is in P4, and that is Bulker. They're in P5. They're having a small breakaway from Christopher Crook in the Street Trends car. He's got a car basically pushing him. That is Giros. He's ended up with Brostrom and Stiller, who are having slight recovery drives after dropping back in stage 1. They are there just in behind at the back end of the top 10. Fagerberg also lost a lot of time through that pit stop sequence. He is now down in P14. But this is quite a bit different to what we saw in that opening stint, and I think it is because the dynamics have changed a little bit. They're not going long, they're not preserving as such in this stint. They are able to sort of push a lot harder, because basically we just need another 9 laps, and then it doesn't matter when a potential caution is or any pit stops, they can all get to the end. So that is why they're pushing, and they're super aggressive here. Lap 71 on to lap 72. Gunnarsson leads by a second.
Look at the dive down the inside from Linus Brostrom, who gets into Peter Helmbro. That could be the caution. Oh yes, he's just about tipped around far enough. And Peter Helmbro does bring out the caution. Not his fault, you would argue. Linus Brostrom there could not hold the inside line at all. and came straight up into the 77. And that has brought out a caution, just for the reasons you were mentioning as well, before 60 laps to go. Very interesting time for it to come out as well.
Do you pit, like, should I stay or should I go? Because if they pit now, they might, with another timely caution, they might be able to stretch it to the end, but they have an extra set of tyres. So do you take those tyres now, or do you wait later on? I think you keep track position at this point. I do think, especially if you're out towards the front. Let's see what happens. So Peter Helmberg, remember, he got hit initially on the start from Gunnarsson. This one, Brostrom's come way off his line there. That might end up in the steward's room a little bit later on. Fortunately, no collateral damage from that one. Caution came out straight away. Everyone was able to slow down quick enough. But such a shame for Peter Helmberg, who's also going to lose a few positions from that one. He's going to be down in P16. So unfortunately, about 10 positions lost there after that one. Pace truck comes back out. And yeah, we are just a little bit shy. Is anyone going to be taking the offer? Linus Brostrom does. Kind of understanding, to be fair, because he's a little bit further back anyway. He's on a bit of a recovery drive. Let's go. And what is he going to do? Let's keep an eye on him. Is he going to take the tyres now, or is he just going to top up on the fuel and leave the tyre strategy for later? But I guess if you go into the back of the pack, you might as well take the tyres and try and get through. But we only had 10 racing laps basically on that set of tyres. There's not going to be much difference, you know, a couple of tenths here, a couple of tenths there. I have to see from that one. No, he is going to be taking... No tyres, just the fuel on that one. So it is just a top-up, gas and go. Interesting choice, Ewan.
Well, you'd expect that from somebody who's already, like, bottom end of the lead lap, but Brostrom certainly wasn't. You know, he was 7th, I think, 8th, something like that. And that's quite a lot of track position to give up for just a little bit of extra fuel. What, 10 laps maybe of extra fuel? You know, I don't see as worth it, personally. But he clearly does. He clearly thinks that, yeah, that is absolutely fine. And he can, you know, go a lot further now than the rest. In theory, he could go to about lap 134 now, with the slight bit of saving he'll be able to do at the beginning of this caution here. Lap 134. Is he going to go all that way? No, because your tyres would be really, really in trouble by that point, and there'd only be 6 laps to go. That would be a mindless strategy, but it's a good place to put yourself in, to maybe just go a little bit further, and, you know, when you give yourself that window to maybe catch a caution, maybe get lucky, maybe go through the field. But for someone who's already running in the top 10 with decent pace, maybe not race-winning pace, but decent pace, it's a surprise to see somebody going for that kind of strategy of wanting to catch a caution. And actually, maybe we're going to get more explained, because he's in again now.
Yeah, I think maybe there's some damage repairs on that machine as well that he's trying to get done, which would explain it. The issue with that now is he's not going to be on the back of the line. It's unlikely he's on the back of the line when we get to the green flag, depending on... Oh, no, he only had a 4.7 stop. Okay, I thought he was going to take a bit more. So I think he's probably has some damage repairs in there. And he is actually, yeah, with how short the stop is, he should be on the back of the line. So I think what he's doing is he's making sure that he has all the fuel he can to either stretch it to the end, or if he does have to stop, he's barely going to have a short stop. He's maybe not even change tyres at the end, and might be able to hold on with some track position. We'll have to see how that one is going to work itself out, but that is a job for 60 odd laps time. We're going to go back to green flag racing. Pace truck comes in a second caution of the day. It was Peter Helmberg who got sort of knocked about and spun around there, as we're now he's now down into P17. Pace truck comes in. The Lange-Kunien 300 is going to be getting underway once again. Gunnarsson from the pole position retakes the lead and will now take us back to the green flag racing. Brilliant start from him as well. Interestingly, after having so many sim race winning cars for many seasons in this championship, we've got all different teams up towards the front. That is what we like to see. Big send up the inside from Leppe. He's going to try and come to second place. Almost contact with Beifeld. The pair avoid that one. This is going to open up the door for Gunnarsson to get a great restart to come down the back straight away. Leppe holds on to third.
Lofty position to find himself in, considering the earlier part of the race that he was having. And again, these sort of tyre saving that we saw through that third. Oh, trouble in the background. Fagenberg there involved in it. Christopher Garros was the first one around. He's in the grass and he's back on the racetrack. He is somehow not causing a caution. that's a miracle, really, that we've gotten away with that. Gerhardt won't be pleased about it either, because that really could have saved him there. He's down in 19th now. He's quite a long way off the back of the field as well. I'm amazed that wasn't a caution. And it would have given the opportunity for people to pit and make it to the end of this race. Would have been a key moment in this race. See how it happened. It was with Stiller. Gerhardt thought he was clear. He just wasn't. And Stiller had nowhere to go.
Oh, there's further contact as well. That's actually what kept him straight. So that extra bit of contact, the car on his inside, which might have been Lundberg or Lundberg's teammate. Basically, it was what held him straight in the end of Skoglund, the 83 of Skoglund, was the car that kept him straight and stopped the caution coming out. That is rather lucky and remarkable. So we stay under green flag racing. Is lap 78. Gunnarsson leads by 0.6 of a second as we come across the start-finish line to start lap 79. Weifeld leads. The top four got a breakaway by over a second and a half already. The gap between Hagman and Bohlin, that's extending massively after just a couple of laps of action, as Hagman is having such a great run of it here after jumping up a load of positions already, up 10 positions in this race as he continues on in 4th position.
He's just got to sort of hang around there at the moment, because Leppert and Weifeld are likely to continue their fight behind. He's got no threat in front, sorry, he's got no threat from behind, because of that that crash we saw there, which I'm amazed. Calls caution, by the way, still amazed. And Lars Bugg is now leading the charge, but 2 seconds is the gap, and Hagman can just hang around. I think Gunnarsson's doing the same thing as he did last time, run out as far as he can. 60 laps to go now, though. See when he makes his pit stop. I can't see it being much more than 20 laps, to be honest. If they're all done, completed under green flag conditions, I think Jonas Gunnarsson will be coming in at one of the earliest opportunities here, because the longer he leaves it, the more Marcus Weifeld is going to come back into the game.
Yeah, and I guess you do want to put out the caution, so you don't want to pit too early, and the caution comes out as well. So difficult one to work out which one is going to be the best. As ever, we never know when caution is going to come out, and they do say caution's pre-caution, so we could end up we had a lot of green flag running in this race, to be honest, compared to some others this season or in the previous season. But let's see how this one goes, because the long green flag runs always bring the tyre wear into it, and the drivers who potentially struggle with that drop back quite a bit. We've got some little wheel-to-wheel bumping. Fagerberg, he's made loads of positions. He was P16, 17 after the stage. He's already got back up into P6 after those issues for cars ahead and some good overtaking. He's definitely got some speed in this car. Crook is battling with Dan Holman now as he works away down this back straightaway in towards turn number 3. Can he dive it down the inside? Yes, he can, Dan Holman. That's going to be for P7 as he works his way through turn 3. Crook doesn't battle that one, so he's going to go down to 8th position is Crook as we come across the line. Lap 83 coming on the board, and he's going to continue on in towards turn 1. But Crook, yeah, I mean, he's been up there all day, but he's dropped back once again in the battle.
Yeah, he's certainly been in the walks today, that's for sure. Holmer on his way back up again, and he did do this early in the run last time, so it's going to play into his hands more in stage 2. But in stage 1, his philosophy of going out hard actually came back to bite him really hard there, and he dropped outside the top 10. I don't think he got any stage points, did he? And that is down to the fact he went a little bit hard too early. Hackenschott and Marcus Stiller are side by side in the background, by the way. Stiller's still going. Doesn't need any damage repairs despite the trouble he's had. He's on the outside there though. Oh dear, and here they come on the inside line. Well, maybe I spoke to he hasn't had any damage repairs, right? But he maybe has got damage. Not sure what that was about. That's a lap car getting in front of him there of Dante Forsberg. 4 laps down. No idea what he's got to do with this at the moment.
Get involved just before that previous caution. Let's see how this one evolves, because he just gets a little bit awkward for these drivers just outside the top 10. They're fighting for some big battles, and now all of a sudden there's a car in front of them. This is Marcus Stiller, P11. He's holding on to these cars in behind. He's getting very, very tense indeed, and he's trying his absolute best to try and get past. And look at this down the inside is Kenneth Tier, who's trying to get past the 162 as well, sending it up the inside, trying to make a way. That's Matthias Kjellberg. Is really wide there from Kenneth Tier, your winner of the opening race of the previous season. Don't know if he's going to be winning this one with how it stands, at least on raw pace. But he's going backwards, as he's also got Peter Helmbro, the 77, coming up his inside. So there's a 4-car battle here to work our way in towards turns number 1 and 2. Helmbo's still going to keep it up the inside, but not quite enough to make it work because he's going to be blocked off from Kjellberg up ahead of him, as this is a bit crazy between these guys. Because look at Kenneth Tier now on the outside line. He's gone high once again. Is it going to work out? Because Kjellberg sending it to the inside as the pair remain side by side. We're going to go 3 wide for a second here, maybe, as Marcus Stiller gets a terrible run. Kjellberg, I thought he was going to be losing places. He's now going to gain them 3 wide across the line. Kjellberg takes the inside line. He gains those positions. Helbro is trying to come through as well. Joe Bohlin on the back. This is absolute chaos in T1 and 2.
The more they fight, the more join in as well from behind here, and so this group's ever growing. Is that Lynn? Yeah, Linz Brostrom's approaching. There's another lap car back there, isn't it? Who's that? Joel Bohlin is that in the 43? I think it is. He's only a lap down, and he's not in a fight for the free pass at all. So he's just sort of hanging out at the moment in this group. But Linz Brostrom's not far away either. In front of Bohlin, Tier and Stiller go side by side. Tier just getting that position. He dives in really to turn 1, loses his line, nearly hit Helmbro, then loses his line. That's an invitation for Joel Bohlin to go past him and Marcus Stiller in one go. It's surprising, really, as Stiller should have really been the one going through himself, actually. But there you go. He does seem to be suffering with damage. You know, he's always, as we always say, he always starts from the back, but he always actually has pretty good speed, and often makes you wonder what he could do if he actually qualifies properly. But anyway, he chooses to do that, and unfortunately, that pace that we often see from him, which is at the very least good enough for top 10s very regularly, he's not got that, and I'm going to put that down to the damage that he gained off of turn 4 on that restart for the first lap of his latest run.
I'm not sure how to Peter Helmut Linz Brostrom as it stands, because he did all these stops. He did 2 stops there at that previous caution. I would assume to absolutely top off on fuel, get any damage that he had out of the way. But he's P14, 9 seconds off the lead. I'm not sure how this is going to work out in his favour as it stands, but let's see. There's 50 laps to go in the race, the Longyearbyen 300, the opening race of the season. Therefore, any driver now could pit and get to the end. I assume they're going to wait for the caution with how easy it is to have a caution today. They're definitely going to be waiting for that one, but you don't want to wait too long either and start losing if you're unable to hold on to these tyres. Everyone's been pushing a lot harder, assuming that this stint is going to be shorter, but if it's not, they're going to run out of tyres. Holkenschei in the 101 machine. He is working his way up. Crook has gone back another position since we last saw him, and now unfortunately is now down into P9.
Yeah, again the toing and froing's happening now. So the tyres have been on for what, 30 odd laps for most of these guys now, and it's well, they're suffering for it. Unfortunately, a lot of these drivers. Further up front, there's Holmer, who's so far not suffering for it, but actually, like I said earlier, it can actually just come in when they start to suffer a little bit this time around. But you know, I have a feeling that, to be honest, these drivers have just not really used their tyres throughout this race. This goes green all the way to the end. They're going to have a set still sat on pit lane. I do wonder how far we are away from a Dan Hole pit stop here, or somebody else at the front of the field pitting in. But let's wait and see. Maybe Jonas Gunnarsson will be that pit stopper, because he's now being caught for the lead at a very alarming rate as well, actually. 93 laps now we're on to, and here comes Marcus Beifeld towards turn 3. He's not close enough, but he's getting ever closer here. Well, is he close enough? No, he's not. Getting ever closer, though, for the overall race lead.
That's what we love to see, a fight between the two. There's Skoglund, I believe that is a lap car, getting out of the way. I mean, Leppert and Hogman, they're not too far behind. The top 2 haven't pulled away in the same way that we saw in the previous stint, in the previous long run stint at the start of the race. So that is pretty good to see, but it is not over yet. Jonas Gunnarsson, the 33. He was, of course, in Alcantech for so long, won his championship. There as well, he had the #1 on his car a couple of years ago. But since then, it was a tough time of it. He won some races. He did look good for a fight in the championship, but was unfortunately coming up a bit too short, I should say. He's gone to Sim Race Sweden now, one of the better teams that there are at this moment in time. but is he going to be able to do something this season? Let's find out. He's working his way through turn 2. He's holding on from Marcus Byfeld as it stands. A quarter of a second is the gap between them. That is it. And they've got less than a second to lap it in behind. Looks like Hagman actually is dropping off this battle just a bit. So it's really a 3-car battle. We'll have to see if Lepid's able to hold on. I mean, Lepid didn't do last season, season 8. In season 7, the longer season, I believe he only did so half of it, if that. Just came here and there for some races, didn't do many. So he's still fairly new in towards this championship, but he's looking strong there in 3rd place. His lap 100 is looming up ahead.
Certainly is. And that would denote halfway through stage 2 here tonight. Yeah, that's good. Okay, sorry. 140 minus 60 suddenly became difficult. But yes, it would be half distance in stage 2 there through lap 100. Lars Boke can't wait for it by the looks of that either. Daniel Holmer is all over the back of him now, coming over the start finish line through this tri-oval. Not a small tri-oval, especially when you compare it to the other ones of Kansas, for example, or even, well, certainly Daytona, as we all know, almost twice the length of this venue. Here comes Holmer though, through on the inside line. He's not completed it by any means yet, but he's looking on the way down the inside, and there's the first sign that pit stops are on their way. Jonas Skoglund is laps down, yes, but it's a signal to the rest of the field that the window is open, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some more high placing takers in the next few laps.
Which makes sense, because often, as you know, in this second stage, we see drivers go half-half. So if it's 80 laps, 40, pretty simple maths to get yourself to the end of the race. Dan Holmer here, P6. He's got a big bat in behind. He's got Lars Bulk on the outside. He's got Håkansson on the inside. It's the 372 and the 101 machines there trying to chase down. Look at this on the outside from Lars Bulk. It's not going to be enough, though. Håkansson, look at the momentum he got there in the middle of the corner, as Bulk was not able to hold that minimum speed through turn 3 and has lost the position because of that. So this is working out really well for some drivers and really not for some others. I'm surprised to see such a differential in speed between some people. This car ahead is a lap down. I think it's Giros who's a lap down in the 36, so don't worry about that one for position as they chase down Elliot Fagerberg just up ahead. Fagerberg has found himself in P5. What a comeback it is in this stint from him. Just showing you what can be done, because the likes of Linus Broström, Marcus Stiller, they're still down there towards the back of the field. We come up to the battle for first place, and Byfeld is really getting a run as Gunnarsson hits the wall.
I mean, why hasn't he stopped yet would be the question that he might be asking himself even. Jonas Gunnarsson is going to be passed by Marcus Byfeld fairly easily, and I think that would have happened whether he'd have hit the wall or not, but now he comes in. You could argue maybe a lap or so too late, but he wants to get exactly lap 100 in, and to be fair, when you actually even it out, that's less than halfway compared to what you're going to have to do second time round. So 40 laps, green flag running second time round, did about 38 with a couple of caution laps in there this time round. So it is a lot different, but anyway, he's into pit lane. Eric Lundberg's in pit lane as well from lower down in the field. We are going to see a real flurry of pit stops in these next few moments, because just as Marcus Byfeld was in the ascendancy there, a pit stop comes, and that won't be very comforting for him, because in a medium long run like we saw there, he was shown, I think, to be slightly slower. That was close. Slightly slower than Jonas Gunnarsson.
Wow, this entry is certainly quite dodgy, isn't it? These green flag stops may be causing a couple of issues. We'll have to see when more of the drivers come in. This, of course, is a teammate of Gunnarsson, so let's see how that one works out in terms of if it's Sim Race Sweden or if it is just all of the drivers. Loads of other people were able to come down. Always missed his box a little bit. That's going to cost him a few crucial seconds, and when you're in a close battle, a few seconds on pit road can be the all-important factor. We're looking for like 15 odd seconds for the stop. What is it going to be for Dan Holmer? Oh, it's fair. It's only going to be 13.5. So that is interesting. Obviously a bit less fuel potentially being taken at that stop. We remain green flag. Byfeld leads by 4 seconds from Marcus Hogman. But we have had a couple of stops now. So if there's any caution fairly soon, this could sort of change the order of the race quite a bit. It's always sketchy, green flag stops, but Byfeld actually comes in to cover that one off.
Yeah, he's probably a few laps. Well, he is a few laps after Gunnarsson, so he's going to be what? I mean, if the drop-off's as severe as a second and a half, then it could be quite severe. This lead for Gunnarsson. Obviously, it's not going to happen just yet because Marcus Hagman is still out there, and they're going to continue to go long. As some of these guys, anyway, you feel like they maybe don't have a chance in a straight-up fight overall in the race today, but they might do if they do something a little bit different on strategy. Over the line again for Hagman. 36 laps to go now. What's Beifeld's time going to be? 14.4, sorry, in the box. And where is he going to be in relation to Gunnarsson? We'll find out in a second. Christopher Crook now comes into pit lane as well. Where is Gunnarsson and Beifeld? Though Beifeld is 2 seconds in front of Gunnarsson at the moment. That doesn't really make it. Ah, there we go. Sorry, my time screen is updating. And now they're battling side by side. So Gunnarsson's going to get himself through, but only really on the balance of being up to speed already. The new tyres didn't seem to make any difference at all.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot more variables at a green flag stop because you have the slowing down into pit lane, which is so sketchy. So if one's a little bit of aggressive or not, let's see. No, actually, no, the gap is quite a lot young. Now they got up to speed. I mean, Beifeld's way off. Yeah, we're looking at about a 2-second gap. So I guess, yeah, that makes about sense. You know, it was either 1 or 2 laps, about a second a lap or so. But it's probably not as much as he was expecting. But crucially, he does have a decent amount of track position. It's not. I mean, that's the first time this battle's been over half a second.
Yes, that is true. To be fair, Gunnarsson went out quite hard early, but yeah, it came down pretty quickly after that. I think that is slightly smaller than what Gunnarsson was expecting and hoping for there. Oh, contact! Are we going to get? Oh, good save there from the 41. I think that was coming in. I can't quite. Yeah, there we go. Into pit lane for Bjorn Broström, and got hit there. We saw a very close moment not so long ago. It's one of those racetracks where you run the low line, you know, more often than not, and obviously that's also the line to come into pit lane as well, just to dramatically reduce speed. To be fair, behind, we'll argue, you know, I'm afraid you weren't quite down on the low side there, and it wasn't quite clear what you were doing, but Broström will say, well, we don't know actually, we're not in session whether he actually said something that I'm coming in or what, but anyway, they'll argue about that a little bit, but it's another chapter in just how difficult the pit entry is around here. It's not one of the most difficult in the world, but certainly not difficult to get it wrong.
Yeah, this is actually one of the hardest pit entries there probably is on the whole calendar. So a few drivers having issues. To be fair, with the amount of pit stops they've had so far, I'm surprised there hasn't been many more troubles. We're seeing here Joel Bohlin slowing down. Oh, that's because you've got Marcus Hagman coming around his outside. Was that just pure tyre? Was that just pure tyre of Hagman going around the outside? He went past him like he was standing still. That's absolutely insane if that is, and that's just showing you the difference in speed. It must be because Wallin's gone wide, has not got the tyres on that car anymore because Wallin has been out there for a little bit, but yeah, definitely if you don't have the rubber on your car, you are not able to go around the corners. And to be fair, how short this track is, 2 seconds a lap, second a corner, that is pretty mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, just over 30 seconds these laps for reference. Best lap currently 31.0 from Jonas Gunnarsson, actually, who is set to be race leader here. The front four haven't made their final pit stop yet, but they're just sort of stretching this out to see what might happen. I mean, you look at those 4 names up in front. Yes, you've got Linus Broström, who is a strong driver, and we know that. But are any of the others pre-race favourites really? Hackenschott, Robert Erling, Marcus Stille, you'd say not in a straight fight. But they do something on strategy. There's a restart with less than 30 to go, in which point you know anything can happen because you know there's only about 15 minutes left in the race, and that's a very defendable distance if you've got track position. And so you just never know what can happen. Put yourself in a position that you might be able to benefit from a little bit of fortune, and you might well come home with a big prize at the end of the day, but we'll see. They yet need a yellow flag, of course, and they've got about 10 laps to get it because they are fast approaching. Some of them are anyway, especially in the case of Marcus Stille, that 60-lap mark, which is all they can go to on fuel.
Indeed, less than 30 laps to go now, so half a tank of fuel is what you need in your machine as it stands. But of course, there's all sorts of pit stops cycles going on. We've got Marcus Stiller. He's out there for 49 laps in 4th position. He's going to need to come in, take 20 laps of fuel. We've got Broström, Erling and Schott, the top 3. All of them, they are going to need about 10 laps or less of fuel at some point to the end of this race. So there's still a few pit stops around, so if you're a Jonas Gunnarsson fan, don't be worried just yet. He will rotate back to the front of the field, but it just depends exactly when, where and how that's going to sort itself out. He's got a second lead to Marcus Byfeld. Byfeld is the quicker driver. He's been able to already catch down 1 second in that battle there on the previous lap. He was 2/10 off. Schott there comes in. That's a little bit earlier than him stretching out his tank, so that's just him balancing out the stints.
So sort of hedging his bets there, so to say, you know, I'm going to stay out for 10 extra laps maybe, try and see, you know, 10 laps, might catch a caution, might not, but no worries if not. I'll come into the pit lane with about 27 to go, and that. But the reason why he's done that, and he's not gone the whole way, and he's gone, let's say, I'll come in 10 laps to go, really put all my eggs in that basket. The reason why he hasn't done that is because even if he doesn't put if he doesn't work, he comes in, puts new tyres on with 9 to go, he'll be, dead last. So because he'll have just been running on those old tyres compared to everybody else on new tyres for way too long. Yes, he's a long way back now, and you could argue, well, it might be one of his better shots to win a race if he, no pun intended, if he wants to win, he's got to stay out as much as possible. But you don't want to completely screw over the other strategy. You want to sort of hedge your bets, maybe spend 13 or so laps hoping for a caution, go a little bit longer, lead some laps indeed as well, which is points worthy. But in the end, you do have to think about what happens if this race does go green, and pitting with 9 to go is a lot less sensible than pitting with 27 to go as he's just done.
It's always difficult to make the decision, but you have to make your bed and lay in it at one point. You can't sort of, half it either. You have to go one way or the other, otherwise you're good in neither and you just lose out either way. So you have to commit, either go early like we saw Gunnarsson, or stay out like we're probably going to see still out there. So Marcus Stiller, within about 5 laps or so, is going to need to come down pit lane. So that's still, and actually Stiller now has already been overtaken. So Gunnarsson, he's already made his stop, and now Stiller and Byfeld, Gunnarsson and Byfeld are getting past Stiller. So despite making the stop, they have now regained that whole stop since the caution restart. So that is not good for Stiller in some ways, and I think this is a case of probably staying out too long.
Well, exactly. That's a bad point. What is the point now? You know, there's no benefit now, because even if there is a caution, he'll come into the pit lane, but so will they. Byfeld and Gunnarsson, they've got a set of tyres left down on pit lane that they've not used, and they're not going to unless there is a caution. But I think at this stage, if there is, they are going to use them at minimum 14 laps. Byfeld about to complete that 14 of this stint. But with 23 laps to go, I've got to say, I thought it was probably caught Gunnarsson earlier than expected. Now, admittedly, that's probably because I was expecting the gap to be bigger. Adjusted is probably about right, because Byfeld does have slightly fresh tyres. Maybe over the course of a long run, he's slightly quicker, but that's difficult to prove. He's certainly got the better tyres underneath him, though. That's a long bit of defending for Jonas Gunnarsson to do here if this race stays green the whole way to the end.
Byfeld is the faster driver on average. So Broström up the inside of another driver, Robert Erling there, and you saw contact made earlier on. He's got Joel Bohlin in behind, who's, I believe, still a lap down, so he's going through there. I've just seen another driver lap down, Kenneth Tier, working his. Oh no, that is it is a lap down. This is not in the same battle that we are seeing. But 3 wide as we work our way in towards the first corner, and it looks like this is going to be losing position. This is actually Robert Erling, Linus Broström, fighting for the current race lead. These are drivers who have stayed out there 45-46 laps into their stint. So they are going to need to stop again to get to the end. The problem is they're staying out now. They're going to have, if they stay out a couple more laps, Gunnarsson is going to be coming up behind on fresh tyres, not fresher tyres, because Gunnarsson's already been out there for 20 laps, a third of a stint. Way fresher than these guys are going to be driving past them like they're standing still. It's going to get to a point where they might have stopped anyway. I guess they're just now waiting for a caution, because as you say, at this point, everyone's going to come in for fresh tyres. So they still have track position, and until that point it makes sense for them to stay out. Byfeld has got past Gunnarsson though, So that is a big change. Gunnarsson's led since basically the most recent restarts, but since the pit stop, Byfeld has been a lot faster. He came out 2 seconds behind, but now was caught and overtaken.
I think the only thing that can lose in this race now is going too hard on those tyres and suffering for it in the final 5 laps. So as long as he keeps those tyres in a reasonable way, he should be well on his way here to a race victory. But what about these two? Robert Erling and Linus Broström aren't done just yet. They're about to complete that 49 and 48, although Linus Broström's obviously top up there at the end of that course, and barely counts. We've got another 10 laps or so to go. They're still in the lead, but we're in the last 20 laps of this race now, so I would definitely be advising them to come in. To be honest, it looks like one of those venues where the restarts and the starts are quite sketchy. We saw it on lap number 1. We saw it on this restart where you could argue there should have been a caution, maybe. And the other caution that came out was after a very short green flag run as well, of maybe only a lap and a corner. So once you get past that, it does seem that it's a lot easier, and that's not good news for Robert Erling and the Broström, who could really do with one when everyone's spread out right now.
Absolutely, 17 to go. You saw Erling sliding around, moving around. He's having some difficulties there getting on the power. He is 50 laps into this stint now. He's waiting, wishing for those new tyres, but he wants to stay out as long as he can. Byfeld's still 4 seconds behind. He might as well stay out because they're dead in the water either way. They were outside the top 10, these two, and they might as well keep going, because even if they don't win this race, they're still going to be way higher position if the caution works in their favour. But it is staying green flag racing, has done for a little while now. But as you say, Ewan, when we get going, this is actually quite a good racetrack for them to drive. It's a very difficult, hard one as well. It's not been easy for the drivers today, and this car in general is a lot more difficult compared to that next gen car. As we're saying, this Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's season number 9, we've moved back to the B-class car instead of the next gen, and it's proving a lot more difficult for the drivers on the tyres. So as the season progresses, I think that is a factor that we are going to see continue.
This track's quite literally hard as well. It's concrete, so it's and that's I'm kind of making a joke. It's also a different surface completely, isn't it, to what you mostly race on with the asphalt that you experience mostly. That's Robert Erling, I think, signalling he's coming in there. He was weaving down the straight. You've got to stay low, though, otherwise they're not going to realise, and that's not very low, really. And he's not coming in, so there you go. That's just his line, and Broström going up a little bit higher as well. Not sure what the weave was about then from Erling. Not sure what he's trying to communicate at the moment to Linus Broström. Only 14 laps to go, and these two, between the two of them, have accumulated quite a lot of laps led now. Again, you'll get points for leading some, but you're not going to get the points for leading most, that's for sure. Marcus Stiller's in again. That's a bit weird. 14 to go. And unfortunately, the good run through the field in stage 1 is going to go without a decent result for the driver, who always starts, of course, from the back.
Yeah, he's a great character to have in this championship. And to be fair, all the drivers and the teams in this community, this Svenska Eracingligan's community that's been going on for a long time now. It's a great group of drivers, and that's why we love coming back here season after season. This is already going to be the 4th oval season that we covered here on RaceSpotTV in a row since 2023. When we first started out, of course, we had some road course races in there as well. We've had a few seasons in the Formula 4. We had the Porsche Cups, had the GT3s a few times. Remember, next week we go back to the start of a GT3 season as well. I'm sure you'll see quite a few of these drivers out there on the track. But for now, we'll focus on the oval. First race of the season. Who's going to be coming out victorious? We've got Erling, Broström. They're staying out. They're hoping for a caution. They're trying to make something work. But in the background, we are going to see Marcus Byfeld come. The 105 machine, he's pulled away massively from Gunnarsson. Gunnarsson's already 2 seconds off. He pushed those tyres way too hard. Or, actually, the 105 car, I think, is just the fastest driver there. He didn't get pole position, but on the racetrack, in the race, he's the fastest driver. He's much faster than the 71 as well. He's going to drive past him shortly, down in towards the first corner, and that one will be second place on the road. Broström does not defend it.
It's just as long as these green flag runs go for, especially when they start to exceed 30 laps. I mean, to be fair, he started to have the advantage even after this one exceeded sort of 15 laps, which is only really medium run territory, short medium. So yeah, he's had the pace for a long time. I think in a late race restart, Jonas Gunnarsson might actually win. I actually think he has a better lap car for about 5-10 laps or so. But when you've got green flag runs as long as what we've got here, then it's a very different story. 55 laps all the way to the end of stage 1. Which he won with a relative ease in the end, and we've got a long run to the end, it looks like, here as well. 10 to go inside of Robert Erling. One of the least dramatic passes for the lead you'll ever see, because one is on 50-lap-old tyres, approaching 60 laps now, actually, in Robert Erling and Marcus Byfeld, who, despite being 30 laps through a stint himself, looking like he's got tyres that are brand new on his car at the moment. And that is a big lead now. The only thing that can take this away from Byfeld, or indeed put it into any doubt, is a surprise caution in these final 10 laps.
Absolutely. This has been a very interesting race. I'd love to have the, well, we still call it the Xfinity car, but I guess that will change here in 2026. The O'Reilly's car out there on the circuit, and it's a great re-addition in towards the championship inside the final 10 laps of the race now, as we're going to see Jonas Gunnarsson very soon get up to the back of Linus Broström and try and find his way, work his way forward down in towards the podium places, as this is surely going to be a tight, tough finish between all of these drivers here. And it looks like Gunnarsson very quickly, though, is going to be having that. Broström is moving around all over the place. Broström actually is almost on to lap 60. He's going to have to pit very soon with just a handful of laps to go. I don't think he's going to be able to stretch it, these 7 laps.
Was very close. Robert Erling there coming into pit lane, but you're right, they're never going to make it to the end here. Scott mentioned earlier on about the likes of I think it's Marcus Stiller, not that it matters now. It's the lap down. No, dive down the inside from Gunnarsson. He's still pushing like this race win is on, but unfortunately I think it's a forlorn hope for him at the moment. I mentioned it early on, you're better off pitting 20 laps to go or so, giving yourself a chance for 10 laps. Yes, that might get lucky, but even if you extend it for another 10 laps or so, 15 laps as these guys have done, you might not get any luckier. So they're on a bit of a hiding to nothing at the moment. I'd be very impressed if Linus Broström was able to save this fuel. I mean, he packed it full when they came out the caution, but he's just completed lap 60 now. I can't see him going another 6 laps. If he's done that amount of fuel saving, I'd be very, very impressed. But I'm afraid I'm not sure that's possible, going at the speed he's been going at. And we'll just see, in any case, even if he does try, where's he going to fall to? Because actually, the next 8 drivers are within 9 seconds of him. And that's a bit unusual, first of all, for such a long green flag run, but it's also not good if you think you're low on fuel towards the end.
I guess he might as well stay out because he's in a bad situation anyway. So at least if he stays out, he might be able to hang on to a top 5 position as it stands. 5 to go. It's got to be way too long. It's got to be way too long, surely. But if there is one person to do it, the 71 car is the one who will do it. But it's getting to a point now where we're so close, I don't think they'll take tyres. I don't think they'll come in if we do get a caution.
Yeah. Yeah, would even no, Linus would get absolutely eaten alive if they all were behind him. So he might, but everybody else, yeah, probably right. I mean, it would be a green flag check, green-white checker, wouldn't it? So, yeah, maybe we'll see if we have to cross that bridge in a moment as Tony Ubernen goes around the outside of Linus Broström. Pretty much everybody is faster than him at the moment as Broström's continuing on trying to get past Jonas Skoglund by doing enough laps for 21st position down the back there. No faster pairs in this series, of course, so you've got to repair the damage to the old-fashioned way. And that is going to cost Skoglund a point, I would imagine. So we go back to Daniel Holmer, who is only just in front of Elliot Fagerberg, maybe suffering Holmer with a little bit of what he did at the end of stage 1. Going out a bit too hard and paying for it late on here. We'll see whether he pays for it with 6th place.
Might just do. What a weird race we've had today. We've had Broström go up and down. We've had Fagerberg go up and down. He's now trying to get P6. Had Helmbro, who's looking fast all day, but he was only able to get back to P10. Very weird in terms of the drivers going all over the circuit trying to get these positions. 2 laps remain. Few positions still to be decided. We've got Håkan Schott, Eric Lundberg for P8. We work our way down the front straight away as there's just 3 miles left in this race. Looks like Schott's going to be able to have that one. He's always come out wide though. The contact, a little bit of rubbing is going to be made. Lundberg is on that outside line, and Schott is going to muscle his way past. We do have Peter Helmbro actually in the background of that. Robert Erling is laps down after just making his pit stop. Out of sequence from the front of the field. Look how much extra speed he's got. Actually, final lap time comes out. It's going to be Marcus Byfeld leading by almost 4 seconds at the front. He's his return to this oval series. He's been so good on the road, but he comes back to the oval and is going to be taking his first victory here of the season. The Svenska iRacing oval series season number 9. The Lagerkunien 300 is going to go to the 105. The street trend sim racing driver Marcus Byfeld dominates here at Nashville and takes the first victory of the season. Huge congratulations to him, and what a performance he's put out there. Easily the best driver today. He was able to just go on these long runs and hold on to his tyres. Jonas Gunnarsson is going to start the season with 2nd place. Linus Broström will be 3rd, and Johannes Leppert as well is going to sneak into 4th place in that number 40. What a drive from him. And the top 5 rounded out by Marcus Hogman.
Well, you mentioned what a great drive it was from Byfeld, but I don't think we've underscored Linus Broström's enough. 65 laps he did at the end there, when we were told the fuel limit was 60. Extraordinary run from Linus Broström, really, and the fact that he's been able to do that. Okay, if you go slow enough, you can do any amount of laps on fuel, but it's about staying quick, and Broström did exactly that. Look how he timed it there. We'll see it in the results in a second. He finished just 3.5 tenths in front of Johannes Leppert there, timing it to absolute perfection.
And that's what we love as well, having 3 manufacturer cars at the front. So it was Marcus Byfeld getting the first win of the season after 140 laps and a couple of cautions out there as well. Jonas Gunnarsson and Linus Broström, are they going to be the 3 who are able to challenge for this championship? We'll have to find out, and that is going to be a tough fight between them. Leppert there is going to be getting into a 4th position with Marcus Byfeld in P number 5. Dan Holmer is going to round out your top 6 with Fagerberg on a brilliant resurrection of his race after having some issues at the stage caution down in P7. Håkan Schott, Lundberg and Helmbro round out your top 10 with Gunnarsson getting the fastest lap on lap number 68. Of course, they were not all of the drivers here today. We had Kenneth Tier P11, Christopher Crook P12, then Lars Bulker and Matthias Kjellberg rounding out your top 14. All of the drivers on the lead lap. Bjorn Broström ends a lap down with his teammate Erling in behind. Marcus Stiller should have been in top 10 today, but ran into some issues, ending a lap down. Joel Wallen, the final driver, a lap down. Then the drivers having further issues. Firstly, Giros, and then Forsberg rounding out the second page. Then at the back of the field, we had Uvelen, Skoglund, Oscar Motin and Alex Aronson, who barely got his race started. That was certainly quite something. But of course, let's get some interviews. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to get Byfeld today, so we will start with 2nd place driver of Jonas Gunnarsson. And Jonas moving to a new team, Simrace Sweden. The number 33 is now shining bright there for the black, blue and gold team. But once, as ever, your pace is looking very good. 2nd place, once again, from pole position. You didn't have the pace for Marcus, but you should overall, I think, be quite happy with how that race went.
Yeah, it feels good in the Premier to be P2 Premier in the series and in the new team. Marcus, I don't know what he had in his tires, but felt like they never stopped going, and my tires were gone the second I tried to push.
Yeah, you still had quite a lot of pace compared to the drivers behind you. So, yeah, I think you're going to be looking quite good this season. How do you feel in this, the B-class car compared to the next gen? It seems to be really good in the previous season that we had it. A lot more tyre wear, of course, sort of move around a bit more. How is it compared to the next gen?
Yeah, I like it. It's more fun to drive, and like you said, the tires are wearing off much more, so you have to nurse them a bit more, which I need to practice after today, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
And this car with a little bit more power would be awesome.
Yeah, it certainly would. It looks good fun to drive. I'll have to try it. soon. We go to Auto Club next time out in a couple of weeks' time. How are you feeling for that track? Of course, another sort of really fast track out there.
Yeah, feeling confident, and yeah, it's gonna be fun, like always.
Absolutely. Great start to the season, Eunice, and congratulations for second place.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and then we will bring in the one and only Linus Broström, the 71 reigning champion of this series, and of course one of the league admins as well, putting in so much effort and being rewarded with a great result today. Linus, just talk us through that. You had some good pace at the start, then you made contact. You had to go down, with an extra pit stop there at the caution as well. It was up and down for you, and then of course a big fuel-saving stint at the end.
Yeah, it's. I guess the season could have started better. With the crash at the start, I got some sort of damage there, which I realized after about 10-15 laps that it was overheating the engine. So I had to start backing off, drop way back, fixed what I could on the pit stop, and then when that final caution fell, we had 68 laps to go, and you can go 60 on a tank, and all I did was remember Charlotte last season or last year. And someone said there's no way you can go to the end from here, so I took that as a challenge, and I finished P3 with a car that I couldn't go full throttle with. So I turned P10, 15 into a third place. Unfortunately, I gotta say sorry to Peter. I tried to go on the inside, touched the apron, went up into him and half spun him out. So we'll see what happens there. So I've probably got a penalty coming, but still, that's going to be way better than what it would have been if I would have just gone with everyone else's strategy with the car I had. So still happy with the result. Could have been better for the team, but hey, third place for me in the end is still all right.
Yeah, certainly a bit more of a struggle than you would have wanted. We got 9 races over the season. We have some great tracks coming up. Atlanta, Homestead as well to finish the season. How are you looking forward to a season in these B-class cars?
Yeah, it's fun to be back in them, and the schedule is very diverse. It's got a lot of different tracks. Of all different sorts, short tracks, flat tracks, 1.5 mile super speedways, so it's got a bit of everything. So I think it's going to be a good season, and my team is chasing from the back now for the rest of the year, with Alex being taken out right away and myself not scoring any stage points. So we got our work cut out for us. So I think it's going to be a fun season. We managed to somehow get Marcus Beefut to join the Oval Series as well, which seems to have been a mistake, but at least he's practicing with us, so he's half part of Polski. So I guess I can take some credit for the win today anyway. But it's going to be fun to see how we will do on all these different tracks throughout the season.
Absolutely, it's going to be a whole load of fun. And of course, I assume for Marcus, GT3 series starting next week as well. So that should be a whole load of fun. So yeah, thanks, Linus, and congratulations on your podium.
Thank you, guys.
And then quickly, as he's here, let's just grab Alex Audson of the number 24. Not the race that you would have wanted, obviously, to start the season. But Alex, just talk us through the incident at the start there.
I wasn't expecting to talk to you about that, but not sure I want to say too much, to be honest. No, but I mean, the 33 car got a bit of a poor start. I think he spun his tires a bit, and I hit him, and then I checked up a bit to not hit him again and turn him around and cause him to do what I did, which is being hit from behind and spin out, which obviously ended my race. So not much more to say about that.
But of course, with a drop round, you still have a good chance, but no mistakes from here to the end of the season. What do you think you can do? How confident are you in this new B-class car?
Confident in the car, but I had a planned drop week already. So this probably ends my season, to be honest.
Yeah, well, we'll see what you can do. You never know, there might be issues for other drivers, so good luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a fairly long season. There's 10 races, 10-11 races. So, I mean, a lot can happen in those races. We've seen that before, so I can't give up just yet.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And yeah, good luck and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks.
Cheers. So yeah, that wraps up the Långa Kungen 300 here from Nashville. What a way to start the Bohlin Svenska Eracingligan's season number 9. Marcus Byfeldt finally joins Oval Series and wins on debut. That is what we love to see. And is he going to be the champion? We'll have to find out as the weeks commence. Thanks for watching. It's been myself, Cam Roger, Ewan O'Leary alongside me, and Ramiro as well on the production of this RaceSpotTV broadcast. And we will see you next week when we get the GT3 Road Course Series underway. Until then, it's a very warm goodbye.